Hi everyone, my name is Tania and today I'm going to be showing you 3 different ways on how you can use the nesting ovals die. Stay tuned. So today I was challenged to use the nesting ovals die set, which was just released last month, and I really love using nesting dies because there's so many different ways that you can use them. You can use them for dry embossing, you can cut out frames, you can create panels. Today I'm going to be making 2 cards and a mixed media art journal page as well. So to start off, I have chosen the 3 smallest oval dies from the set, and of the largest of 3 I have die cut 5 ovals with black cardstock, and with the second largest one I am using some watercolor brush refills, and I'm using a Rubellite watercolor brush marker as well. You can use a refill, you can buy them individually, and dripping it onto a wet piece of cardstock and just lifting up some of the excess and then drying it. You can let it dry naturally for a more intense color, but I wanted the colors to be slightly faded. And then what I'm doing next is I am die cutting those with the second largest of the oval dies, and then I am lining them up on my piece of cardstock, which is 6 by 8, to fit inside my art journal page, and laying it so just to see what it looks like. And with the smallest of the die cuts, I am die cutting some gold cardstock, again 5 of those, to nestle inside of those oval shapes, creating like an abstract flower petal. So for the background of my art journal page, I'm using some really thick heavy duty cardstock, and I spritzed it with some water to prepare the surface, and I'm using 2 of the same colors that I used for the flower petals. So I'm using Ultramarine and Ultraviolet watercolor brush refills. You can use the markers if you have those. I like that you can use these refills for these kind of drippy, watercolory kind of backgrounds as well. I've made galaxy backgrounds with these watercolor brush markers as well. And if you like, I can make a video on showing you how to make a galaxy background using these refills and markers. So now to I am drawing the page so that I can add some more visual texture to my art journal page, and I'm taking some water in my hand and sprinkling it onto the dried watercolor. What this does is, because it's a dye ink, it will react with the water and will give that bleached kind of effect, giving me more of that galaxy kind of feel. And I'm using the Iridescent Shimmer spray, and I'm using a fan brush to just add some more splatters of the Iridescent Shimmer spray onto my background, and I am completely drying it. So next what I'm doing is I am making sure that it is completely dry before I add my next step. So again, I am just laying out the petal shapes, just to make sure that I like the way that they look, and you'll see me just think about how I want to lay them out. So I thought, instead of, trying to arrange them over and over again, why don't I just assemble them so that I can decide afterwards. So this is something that I love doing. It's a very meditative process for me. For when you're not feeling very creative, I like to do a lot of die cutting and assembling things. You can see how inky my hands are. I taught an in-person class a couple of years ago where someone came to the class and she knew it was going to be really inky and messy, and she had actually bought gloves. But hey, you know what? zero judgment. She still came and she tried something different and out of her comfort zone. So now I am just arranging my petal shapes again. I wasn't entirely sure whether I wanted them laid out on that white area or on the dark area, and I'm just thinking about where I want everything laid out. And it was at this point that I decided I needed to add a little bit of texture to my art journal page. So I'm using the bubble wrap stencil, and I'm going to be applying some texture paste onto there. But before I do that, I wanted to do a little bit of art journaling on my background. So this is something that I often do in my art journals and sometimes even in my cards. It's called asemic writing, where you scribble down some words which have the semblance of some kind of handwriting, but I scribble it down so that I have some hidden journaling. I put down some thoughts on how I was feeling in that moment and how I was feeling about myself and life. This just gives me a little bit of privacy because I tend to share a lot of my work online, but at the same time, it gives that visual texture as well, another additional dimension. So because my stencil is 6 by 6, I wanted to extend the design. So I am just really lightly laying it over the rest of the design so that it is continuous, and scraping the rest of that embossing paste through my stencil. So do it's at this point where I really should say do as I say, not as I do, because I was in such a hurry because I was so excited about how it looked that I forgot that my embossing paste wasn't dry. But thankfully, I realized it and set my petals aside and quickly dried it. But you know what? Nothing happened. No big deal. No damage caused because I was going for a distressed effect anyway. So it's at this point I decided that I liked the look of the petals on the darker side where the embossing paste was. So I am layering them up with foam tape onto my art journal page. And I also make another mistake here. I shouldn't have used a scissor to cut the metallic cardstock because it dented it a little bit, but I fixed it with some metallic markers that I had. So to finish off my art journal page, I am die cutting some words, the word love from the script words die. This is one of my all-time favorite word die sets. I use it a lot in my card making and in my scrapbooking and in my art journal pages as well. So because I've got some, I want to put my sentiment on the lower right hand side. I know it won't be as visible, so I'm adding a darker black cardstock underneath my white cardstock just to give a slight shadow so that it's more visible on the white part of my art journal page. And I'm using some clear drying glue to stick my word down. And this is what my finished art journal page looks like. I was quite happy with how it looked, the galaxy background, the colors. This is one of my favorite color combinations to use. And I love the texture of the embossing paste as well, and how some of the color is showing through underneath the embossing paste. So I made two more cards, which you can see photographs of on the Altenew blog, and I put down some embossing paste through the same stencil, and I sprinkled some antique gold embossing powder on there. And I never get tired of watching gold, especially metallic embossing powder, melt on texture paste or melting in general. It just looks so magical. here is a finished look at my cards. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Please do like and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. Take care and have a wonderful day. Thanks. Bye.
Hello crafters, I hope you enjoyed that video. If you want to see more, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss anything. Thanks for watching.